Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Call on Government Order of the Day number 4.
Television New Zealand Amendment Bill, Committee Stage.
I declare the House and Committee for further consideration of the Television New Zealand Amendment Bill. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker. Kia ora tātou no reira te whare, inga iwi, inga rio, inga hawe wha, tēnā koutou katoa. Good evening, honourable members. The House is in committee for further consideration on the Television New Zealand Amendment Bill. Honourable members, when we last considered the bill, debate on clauses 1 to 3 was in progress. The Honourable Leanne Dalziel has the call and has 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining if she so wishes. But of course we understand a number of members are in Christchurch because of the earthquake, and so I seek the call from a member. I call the Honourable Rick Barker.
Mr. Chairman, firstly I'd like to thank you for acknowledging that Leanne Dalziel with other Christchurch MPs is in Christchurch. Doing a fabulous job down there, looking after the interests of the people there. And I'm sure the House will join with me in saying that we hope that on Thursday we're going to have a very positive announcement and we can, that the people of Christchurch can get on with their lives, and wish all the best to the Honourable Leanne Dalziel as well. Mr. Chairman, the Television New Zealand Amendment Act is down as the 2009 Amendment Act, but as we all know, it's now 2011, and so I presume that the Minister and the Chair will be able to tell us that this date will be updated, and it will be, I presume, the 2011 Television Act. I presume that's just a consequential amendment, but I'd like the Minister to take a call and just to confirm that's the case, because we are, after all, in 2011, and it would be a strange thing if the Act was passed as in 2011 and called the 2009 Act. It would be very difficult for members of the public searching for this piece of legislation, knowing that it was passed in 2011, would naturally go past 2009 to see that it was on that date. The second aspect of this is that very normal for these pieces of legislation that it comes into effect on the date in which it receives the royal assent. This is an indeterminate date because at the start of a bill's progress in this House, when it's tabled for the first time, the Minister tabling the legislation has little idea of how long the Select Committee will take in its deliberations. The Minister has little idea of the number of submissions that will be heard, the amount of hours that will be taken for the committee to consider the bill, the length of the report, and more importantly, how long it will take to get this bill any bill up onto the order paper. So it would be difficult to set with any precision the date in which it would pass and the date at which it would gain its royal assent. So Clause 2 is perfectly acceptable, that it comes into effect on the date that the Governor-General, presumably it will be Mr Jerry Mataparai, will be a fine Governor-General. This could well be one of the first bills he signs as the Governor-General. And I'm sure that as the Governor-General he will take his job very seriously and read it very thoroughly and be very familiar with it and will no doubt, when he comes to the Executive Council, will ask the Minister in charge of the bill some very probing questions as to why it should become public law. And I see that the Honourable Dr Wayne Mapp is in the chair, reading the bill very carefully as he goes through this, so that when he appears before the Governor-General he is fully briefed and able to answer any probing questions that he might ask. And I commend the Minister for diligently applying himself to his homework. We wouldn't expect any less, of course. The third clause in this in this particular debate that we're considering, Mr Chair, of course, is the Principal Act is amended by this Amendment Act, and this amends the Television New Zealand Act 2003. Well, I would presume that the 2003 Act was passed in 2003, so I presume that this amendment will be amended to date 2011 so that it dates the bill. So this would become the 2011 Television New Zealand Amendment Act, amending the Principal Act 2003. This is a time when members can traverse all that's gone on before in the bill, and I think that this is a bill which has seen quite an amount of discussion and debate, but it seems that this bill has some fundamental flaws. The fundamental flaw in this bill is it takes away the New Zealand Charter. The National Party accused earlier in the day the Labour Party of being ideological and playing politics, but if one wants to look at ideological bent and playing politics, one can find it in spades in this particular piece of legislation. The National Party is opposed to public broadcasting. It's opposed to, Mr Chair,
Honourable Rick Barker.
It's opposed to public broadcasting. It believes that the market will do is the mechanism by which all decisions can be made. But I have to say the market is not a place where one can begin to understand the culture and the nature of a society. It can be a reflection of it, but it is not the place at which one would describe the culture of a particular society. And Labor has believed that always that we deserve, this country, good quality broadcasters, good quality productions, and those productions which will reflect the nature of New Zealand. It's going to be more expensive to produce those types of programs because we don't have the cost infrastructure. We have to make these programs new, fresh from scratch, and incur all of the costs. Whereas it's easier to go overseas and buy productions from overseas, but these overseas productions reflect the culture in which they were made. They don't necessarily reflect the culture of New Zealand. And so therefore Labor has always believed that we have to have a charter, we have to direct our principal broadcaster, Television New Zealand, to reflect the nature of New Zealand and its particular character. Labor believes that National has gone backwards to this, just like they've gone backwards with the economy, just like they're out of touch with ordinary Kiwis, just as they are not particularly working for ordinary New Zealand families. And this particular bill, changing the charter of Television New Zealand, is a similar backward step. Thank you.
Mr Chairman.
Ms Hipkins.